So how did you segue in from being heavy duty and out there with the hip hop to banging on wax?
Lifestyle and art kind of touched each other. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop is driven about what you see and how you live and what's going on around you and then, what you driven by. So that's naturally what we talked about, you know what I mean? And one of my other favorite rappers that I looked up to that kind of straddled the line and was more, he was gangster, but he was more hip hop was King T. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, this is the type of shit I'm gonna talk about. Like this is what I'm into, you know what I mean? It's like, NWA was big, but it's like, you don't never hear about the ones that was really the influence, the early CMW, you know what I'm saying? The King T, Mixmaster Spade, and, the underground tapes from the swap meet, you know what I mean? I was buying them, listening to all of this,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And they told the way they was talking, it was like I couldn't talk about, the Bronx and Brooklyn, you know what I mean? So I'm listening to these dudes, I'm like, yeah, this is what we doing, And then Banging on Wax came about, I wasn't even too much rapping. We was just gang banging and doing bullshit. And Red Rum called me and was like, man, we putting this project together called Banging on Wax, And I'm like, shit, it's a Blood and Crip album. I'm like, whatever, I'm in, you know. I never cared about for me, it wasn't about the aspects of we finna be talking about being Bloods and being Crips. I looked at it as a doorway to get in what I needed to do, and which was rap. You know what I mean? And, Rum took his time picking the dudes that he wanted to represent the Blood side, because he's a rapper's rapper, you know what I mean? He rap, you know what I mean? So I was glad he chose me, and we just happened to do our thing on it and make a lot of noise with it. And everybody know the B side. We kind of ran that album. You know what I mean? Just from song concepts and delivery and real MCing, like you know what I mean, from the street side. So that's how I got into the Banging on Wax thing. You know what I mean? But our motive and our goal was to actually put out regular music that didn't focus on talking about, you know what I mean, dissing and all of that gangbang, you know what I mean? So that's how we came into creating the Young Soldierz, you know what I mean? We was already a group, the Young Soldierz. And so when we did that, we made sure we got at the people that was behind Banging on Wax, like, look, we doing this, but y'all need to do this for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we let them know and get them understand, like, this stuff that y'all got us doing, we putting our faces and our lives out here and letting everybody know this shit's dangerous. So we need some real quality stuff of what we need to be doing for ourselves done too. And that's how come, the Young Soldierz album was actually the first album, I think, or one of the first albums that came out after Banging on Wax. And, Banging on Wax 2, we kind of, me and my boy Lil Stretch, we kind of played more of a production part in that album and introducing some of our other homies to the, to it, like Lil Laniac and Lil Hawk and B Brazy and, you know what I'm saying, like all of them, So
you transfer from the Young Soldierz, you do that. What happened with Young Soldierz? And then let's talk about, your next project, the Relativez.
Well, the Young Soldierz, we made some noise out here on the streets in L.A. We was popular, you know what I mean? Like back then we was YG and RJ when they was first coming out. Like we was the young ones that was hot in the streets, you know what I'm saying? And we had a big record called East Side, West Side that was the crazy club hit, you know what I mean? Like it was just real animated, And Suge got wind of it, and one day one of the homies, actually rest in peace, my boy Flipside from OFTB, he reached out to Stretch and like, man, Suge want to holler at y'all, man. He want to see what's up with y'all, So we went and met Suge at the Murder Was the Case filming. You know what I mean? And he like, what's up, man? What y'all want to do? Y'all ready to come to the road? And we like, shit, what's up? You know what I mean? And he broke us off some money, like when this car gave us like dumb cash, like crazy cash, like, you know what I mean? We like, what the fuck? He like, yeah, man, just going up to the office, man, and holler at Hank Caldwell. He gonna put y'all paperwork together, whatever y'all want, y'all contract, however y'all want it. We like, fuck. So we went back and told, the dude, Ronnie Phillips, like, look, you can have that Young Soldier album. You can have all of that. We taking one song and we out. He was like, all right, man, I knew, y'all knew that was going to probably happen one day. Y'all, he kind of blessed it. Y'all know, he kind of regretted. He was kind of hurt, you know what I mean? But, we growing, you know what I mean? And where we're being offered to be able to do, he couldn't do it, you know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. And then we ended up remixing East Side, West Side and putting it on the Murder Was the Case soundtrack and became part of the Death Row family, We was around, through everything. We didn't put the record out, but, he gave us just like $250,000, all of it, not no budget. He gave us the check.
Yeah.
So shit. Imagine that, we living it up, we ain't tripping. We in the studio recording. We not even recording that Can-Am with everybody else. We got our own studio. We went blocked out echo sound, you know what I mean? So because we didn't want to go, shit, we had money. I ain't got to wait to go schedule because it's like, we had to go behind the studio schedule. You got the Dog Pound, Snoop Dogg, Rage, all these different people, you know what I mean? So they're like, okay, y'all can get in the studio from midnight to 12 noon the next day. Shit. We tried that a couple of times, man. You talking about falling asleep on the road, trying to get back in the noon from being up all night. We ran our own program, but we was there for it all, man. I was right there in the front row when Suge was like, if you don't want the executive producer all in the videos, I was right there, being homies. I'm like, whoa.
So you was at the Source Awards when it happened?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was right there, We did a lot, man, shit. We learned a lot, traveled a lot, with Suge, hung out with dude, learned a lot. You know what I mean? Free Suge, man, that's the homie, And,
You think Suge will be out this lifetime?
Yep.
You do?
I do. Now he's not in those restricted, conditions. He's a thinking motherfucker. And he gonna figure out a way to get some money and go, you know what I mean? And something gonna happen. They gonna find their way back in court. Something gonna give. I guarantee you gonna see Suge Knight again, believe that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got a lot of motherfuckers that's running around here. Fuck him and fuck that and fuck all that. But gangster, man, I don't kick no man when he down. I don't wish jail on nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's sucker shit. But he'll be home. And then from there, once Pac came home, we was chilling or whatever, it was cool. I got a chance to meet dude a few times. You know what I mean? When Pac came home, it was like, shit, everything just changed, you know what I mean? It was like an uproar, you know what I mean? Always a bunch of people in the studio, news cameras, and this motherfucker, that motherfucker. It was crazy, And we young gangsters, so we ain't really on no groupie shit, you know what I'm saying? So we just happened to meet, run into each other, and my first meeting with dude was more so, they didn't have no weed in the studio. And mind you, even though we had bread, we had all that money, I was still selling weed. You know what I mean? We had all that money, but shit, I knew, I had to keep my day job, you know what I'm saying, regardless of what was going on. So, I had just that day, I had just bought a quarter pound of weed and bagged it all up. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, the dude Big Y from Young Soldiers got some weed. And so I ended up, I go in the hallway. He's like, what's up, man? I'm like, what's happening? And we shake hands and meet or whatever. He's like, man, how much weed you got? I said, man, I got a few dubs, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I want all of it. I'm like, well, all right, nigga, well, I'm keeping this one because I'm finna smoke this. You can buy these. You know, I sold him the weed. He gave me $200 bills, you know what I mean? And he got ready to walk off and walk. I'm like, hold on, man. I'm like, what is this you just gave me, man? He like, man, don't play yourself, man. Don't let nobody know you ain't up on what's hot, and what's popping. I'm like, what you talking about, man? He was like, look, man, these just dropped. These the new big face $100 bills, man. He's like, how much money you got on you? I said, I got about $3,500 on me. He was like, give me $1,000 like worth for them. And I forgot, it was something like $1,000. Here, and take the rest of that little punk ass money you got and go to the bank and turn them little ass heads in and get you some of these. I'm like, man, I feel like saying fuck you, but he like, I'm like, these is hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my first introduction to the big face $100 bill was from Pac. You know what I mean? I ended up going, you know, I went back down to his room. I mean, he's like, come back down, man, you know, to the studio or whatever. I walk in the studio and it's candles and shit burning, the lights is off and shit. It's niggas drinking Heinekens and shit. Pac in the back in the booth fucking around, but they playing a record. And the motherfucker just he's stopping, and then I hear the dude fucking with the vocals, and I hear the shit, let us pray, my niggas, because we have sin. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they playing the record, and then this nigga, come with me. I'm like, God damn. But I had to go back to my session, and it's crazy because later on after he died, I'm like, fuck, I was listening to this shit when they was fucking mixing it or whatever the fuck they was doing, you know what I mean? Because he was already probably 10, 15 albums probably in before he died. So them songs was already made, you know what I mean? And that was my introduction to meeting dude. And then, you know, one time after that, we ended up going to Cabo San Lucas for Danny Boy video. And I don't know how I end up with these dudes, man. They niggas, come on, man, come on, roll with us. And then, you know, I ain't gonna put it out there, you know, him and another rapper was getting into it. Pac calling him all kind of bitches and all kind of crazy shit. And get out, you on the squad. And I'm like, oh shit, this nigga's crazy. Hung out with him, you know what I mean? That was the last time, you know, and then, you know, after a while, you know, we knew Suge wasn't, you know, the way he was putting out records, I guess they had their tactics. It wasn't like how it is now. They would focus on what was hot. You know, even shit, Snoop and them was kind of on the back. You know, it's focusing on Pac. You know what I'm saying? So we was like, man, let us go on and bone out, man. We gonna go on and roll. Ain't no love lost, Suge, but we gonna, you know, we gonna try to get ready to roll. But before we roll, you know, he still kept us involved and shit. We got on the gang-related soundtrack. We working on the album, and I'll never forget. We was like, man, we should try to get Pac to do the hook. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know, I'm going to ask that nigga. You know what I mean? We asked him, and he was going to do it. You know what I mean? We actually, you know, I think Stretch asked him. I think Bolo got at him. Well, either way it go, he said he would do it. But, you know, time went on. That shit ended up happening, and he got killed, and it never worked out like that. You know what I'm saying? And it came out, the record came out, you know, and then, you know, once Death Row kind of folded, you know what I mean? Once Pac died and Suge went down, that was the end of Death Row. You know what I mean? Nobody couldn't run that company like dude. Dre wasn't around, you know what I mean? And people don't know that affected a lot of people's lives. That was actually artists and people that worked for that label. That affected a lot of people's lives because, shit, music started to change. People wasn't fucking with West Coast music like that on some gangster shit. Like, you know what I mean? It was like a black cloud over everything, you know what I mean? So, you know, shit, I had to fall back in the real world, hustling, trying to get, you know, working at little jobs here and there. You know, it was rough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I found myself working a couple different, I was a co-teacher at a school for high-risk kids, worked at USC in the bookstore. You know, mind you, you know, I got a name out here on the streets as a rapper.
Yeah.
But, you know, shit, I ain't never too proud to take care of myself and do what I got to do. So I went to work, man, you know, and in the mix of that, you know, and I had the job teaching the kids and, you know, it was a situation that happened where I ended up cursing and one of the kids told on me and they fired me, you know. But when they fired me, that's when, you know, led to the ride down the street. And Sugar Booger was like, man, we should be our own group, just me and you. But we need a name. And then one day we driving down Prairie and Boog was like, nigga, we gonna be the Relatives. We ain't finna call ourselves, we cousins, but we ain't saying that shit. We gonna be the Relatives. I'm like, this might be the greatest shit you ever came up with, dog. Like, you know what I mean? He's another thinking motherfucker too, Sugar Booger. And we did that, man, and we hooked up with some cats from San Diego and went and recorded our first album in a 2-bedroom apartment with a producer named Steve Vicious, riding back and forth from LA up to Dago, coming up with hooks and working on shit in the car on the way up there. You know what I mean? We got up there, recording the music, knocking shit out. Just, we didn't know where it was going to go. We didn't know, you know what I mean? And we dropped that first Dirty Money, and that shit, like I said, we was the first, like we was like how YG and RJ and all them young niggas was. We was the hottest niggas on the streets, like, period. No matter where you was from, wasn't nobody fucking with me and Booger when we first came out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then we went from there. We had some issues after the first album. We did that second album, The Takeover. After the first album, towards the end of the first album, I went to the Feds. When I got out, while I was in the halfway house, we recorded the Takeover album. And that motherfucker, that set the tone right there, And we worked on that motherfucker, me and Bug, and, bringing in Braze here and there, you know what I mean? Making sure he got on the songs where he was going to stand out, you know what I mean? I remember we was working on that beat, the Like That record, It was actually it was a competition. What's up, Dub? I know you gonna remember this. Dub C wanted that beat, and he was hot. Rashad was our producer, you know what I'm saying? And we had a crazy budget. So we locked his ass down. And we like, fuck that, we want this beat. You know what I mean? Dub wanted it bad, And we laid our verses or whatever, and I'm like, man, this shit gonna be crazy. And I remember telling Braze, I'm like, you gotta come on the third verse and murder this shit. You know what I'm saying? I had to go back to the halfway house. And so I talked to him on the phone before I get back to the studio. I'm like, what's up, nigga? I'm like, you do your shit? I remember like it was yesterday. What? I'm like, you do your shit? What do you mean did I do my shit? What? I'm like, Braze, what's up? You'll see, Pootie. You'll see. I went to the studio, turned that shit on, man. I'm listening to our verses. That shit came on. I'm tired all the I'm like, oh my God. Then when he do the blood walk, I do mine. Like, listen, man, listen here. We played that song over and over and over and over again. And Braze was a fool. He animated as fuck. So we got this thing. We do when you kick your legs up. He going up. He got shit everywhere. He all in your face, slapping his curl. It's wet. It's all in your face. He going nuts. We made it, Pootie. We made it. You know what I'm saying? And that ended up being a legendary record still to this day. You play that motherfucker anywhere, you know what I mean? And that album was big for us, you know what I'm saying? For all of us. All, not just me and Booger, but for him too, And that's what kind of set the tone. That album set the tone for all three of us, really, And then, we ended up leaving, dude. And then, it was like, we didn't have our true independence of putting our own music out. So we would go to different cats that had some money or different deals and situation that would kind of facilitate the situation, you know what I mean? And, and after a while, we did the Money Respect Money album. And then that was the last, true Relative album. Now, after that, we did a few others that people think that's albums, but they really was just like songs we had and shit that got through together. We got a little bread, you know what I mean? But, we kept performing and, touring and doing our thing, you know what I mean? And it's crazy the name we made as far as with the Relatives, but I know it would have been if relatives would have came in this day and era, in this era, it would have been we'd be a lot bigger. You know, we didn't have the access to Instagram and social media and you know what I'm saying, all of the, you know, YouTube and you know what I'm saying, all of those different things, you know what I mean? And those are different elements that what makes the have-nots and the ones that don't not that's not heard, you know, that give them a shot. You know what I mean? You know.